Hi, I'm Dr. Erica Warren. I'm an educational therapist and executive functioning coach. And it is September 6th, 2025. And I want to give you an update on NotebookLM because they have added some new features that I think are really outstanding for students. I'm a firm believer that this resource can really help to take the dis out of disabilities. It can help you to reprocess information in ways that are more helpful for you. So if you have a teacher that teaches in a way that doesn't work for you, you can take a lot of the content and reprocess it in a way that does help you to learn. And it also is just a wonderful resource for being able to take all of the content, put it in one place, and create study guides and podcasts and videos. It's just amazing what it can do. So let me show you. I'm really excited. So here we are in NotebookLM. I got here simply by going to Google and typing in NotebookLM, and it came up immediately. And all you have to do is hit Try NotebookLM. You can access it as long as you have a Google account or a Google Gmail account. So let's click this. One of the new features that it offers are these featured notebooks, and these are just some notebooks that they offer on particular topics, and I'm sure they'll be offering more and more of them. And then underneath that are my recent notebooks, and I can just focus on my notebooks or the featured notebooks by clicking here. So if I want to just focus on mine, I click here. I can create a new notebook, but in this case, I created this notebook called Ancient Egypt for this presentation. So let's go ahead and go into that. What I love about NotebookLM is, and this is something that's always done, but I like to point it out, is it has three columns: the source column, the chat column, and the studio column. So the first thing I want to talk about is the source column. When you create a new one, you automatically go to this screen. And this is where you can add your resources. And your resources can be from Google Drive, like Google Docs or Google Slides. It can be a link to a website or YouTube. It can also be a place where you can paste text into NotebookLM. Or you can simply drag files like PDFs, TXTs, Markdown, or audios like MP3s. And notice here along the bottom here, it gives you an idea of what your source limit is. So I actually have a lot of content in NotebookLM. And you can see that I'm not anywhere near my source limit, which is pretty exciting. But this is where you can discover resources. And this is a new feature. Being able to just type in, let's say I didn't have enough information about a particular topic. Say I wanted more information. Can you give me more information about King Tut? Submit. Tutankhamun, that's his short name, King Tut. But they'll know that. And then it will find resources based on his life. And you can look to see if it's a source that you want to use. History, Smithsonian, PBS. These are all really reputable sites. But if you didn't want something from Reddit, you just simply uncheck it. But yeah, it's got some really nice resources here. But you might be like, oh, wait a minute, I don't want so many. I can just uncheck them all and just pick the ones that I want. Maybe I decide that I want the PBS one and the history one. All I do is import, and there you go. There they are. So let's move over to the second column, the chat center. This is where it offers a nice little overview of the different sources. It also is a place where I can interact with the sources by asking questions by typing down here. They generate a couple questions that I can use, or I can create my own. But it's nice. So if you are even having to write an English article on two stories that you read, as long as you can drag the PDFs in there, you can ask questions like, can you find quotes that offer the theme of love? And it will look across the different texts and find examples, and then you can pick the ones that you like. It saves a lot of time when it comes to searching for information. And for many kids, that takes up all their stamina so that they don't have the energy to do the higher level work that they need to be doing. So for some students, just being able to use this to take care of all the busy work for them that takes up all their stamina is a game changer for them. It really, really does support their particular needs so that they can give the highest level of content and they can learn the most and not get caught up in all the little details. So let's pick one of these questions. Say you wanted to use this to help you find certain content for your paper. You'll notice that they have all these numbers, and these numbers are all a way of them to chunk the information, but you don't necessarily know what resource it goes to. And that can be important if you want to use this for a bibliography. So all you have to do is simply type into the bottom here, please provide a master list that assigns each reference number to its correct source document. And as soon as you do that, it will give you that information for your bibliography. So now you can see all the numbers that are matched up to the different references. Okay, so now let's go over to the studio. And in the studio, we've got 4 different options. These are a little bit different. They're color coded now, which I really like. And you actually won't have what's underneath. I've already generated them just to save us some time. But you'll see these 4 blocks. Let's go over what each one is. Audio overview. If you click on the pencil, this is a new feature. You can format it to do a deep dive, to do a brief, to do a critique, or a debate. You can now change the language if you choose to. So if you want it to speak to you in Spanish, you can. It also offers a shorter length if you choose. But this is where you can actually specify what you want the audio overview or podcast to be about. So you can say something like, oh, this content is really difficult for me. Can you reprocess it as if I'm a 3rd grader? It will do that. You can say, can you test me on this information? And it will ask questions and will even define the answers as well. But you can even interact with it, and I'll show you that feature later. But it's just a way for you to focus. Or you might be like, oh, well, this is all my content, but I just have to do a presentation on papyrus. Can you find all the information across this content about papyrus? And it will do that. So, and then you can listen to the audio overview or a podcast. And again, I'll go in more detail, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview for each of these features. We also have a mind map. This will create a mind map for you. This is a video overview. This is a brand new feature. And again, what you can do is you can specify what you want the presentation to be about. And I think this is a great resource for those individuals that may have missed a class, and they can throw in their teacher's slides, and they can throw in the other stuff that they went over in class, and they can listen to almost like a new PowerPoint or slide with someone actually speaking through the whole presentation with you. And then we've got reports, and under reports we have 4 different options. We've got briefing documents, study guides, FAQs, which is frequently asked questions, and a timeline. So let's go ahead and look at all these sources, which I have already generated. And note that the icons match up. So the audio overview has this icon, which matches to these. We've got the mind mapping, has the little mind mapping icon, which matches to here, and so forth. And please note that one of the things that I love about NotebookLM, even over back into the sources, they do have these little icons which help you. Like this red one at the bottom is a video, and then they have a different one if you want to add your notes. The lecture notes has its own icon, and the sources, and then this yellow one, is for presentations. So I like how they have these little icons to help you to find things really quickly. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go through the different reports. The first one we're going to look at is a study guide. I simply click on it, and it offers the most comprehensive study guide that is absolutely fantastic. And it breaks it down into headings like geography and environment, society and daily life, culture and beliefs, history, periods, and key figures. It offers a little quiz with an answer key and possible essay questions. But then it also offers this glossary of terms with all of the definitions. And the definitions are pulled out of the content from the class information, which is so important because sometimes if you can't find a definition, you might look it up on Google and it may not be the same. It may not be the one that your teacher wants. So this enables you to get exactly the definitions that your teacher wants as long as you're using their sources. Now, what I love to teach all my students is that you can copy this whole thing. I can simply copy the whole thing and I can drop this into Quizlet AI. So that feature is not available unless you have a paid account, which is around $35 a year. Highly recommend it for all of my students. And this enables you to take all of that information, drop it into Quizlet AI, and it will create the Quizlet for you. The other reason why I like my students to get the paid version is it opens up a feature called Learn, which is fantastic. It really helps the students to learn the content. If they don't get it right, it keeps processing it until the student knows it well before it takes it out of the list. It's just a fantastic resource. But when you combine it with NotebookLM, for those students that have, again, low stamina and they just don't have the stamina to create all the content and then learn it, this is a game changer. Now, there are those individuals that just by handwriting them onto index cards or typing them into Quizlet helps them to learn it, in which case, at least the information is organized for them to do so. But for those that just don't have the stamina and that doesn't help them to learn the content, they can quickly get all of their study materials together so that they can start studying. Okay, so that is the study guide. Let's look at the next one. The next one we're going to look at is the timeline. The timeline's really cool. So for those that are sequential processors, it really helps them to see the sequence. You know, anything before a date tends to be a cause, and anything after tends to be an effect. But there are those people that just they think sequentially, and being able to see everything organized in a timeline can be very, very helpful. And then at the bottom of the timeline, they also have this cast of characters, which is really outstanding, which defines all the different characters. And I think that a lot of that is in the study guide, but if you feel like it's not comprehensive enough in the study guide, you can always add the cast of characters to the Quizlet AI as well. And then we have the briefing document. And this, again, just goes a little bit in depth about it. It briefs you through all of the content, and you can read through it and see if you feel comfortable with it. Again, it's another way to process the information. And finally, they have FAQs. And FAQs are frequently asked questions. And this enables you to kind of read through that. Or if you want to, you can use, if you have a Mac or even with PCs, you can do text to voice and listen to it if you choose to. I personally love Speechify. So if you have Speechify, you can just copy and paste this into Speechify and listen to it if you choose to. But what's even better is the podcast, and we're going to get to that. So we've now looked through the different reports. I'd like to take you to the mind map. The mind map is great for those that are simultaneous processors, those that want to see the big picture. And this is a feature that they've had for a while, but it keeps getting better. And you simply open up these different branches to see what it's about. If it falls off the screen, you simply can make it a little bit smaller. But say if you get to the end of the branch and you could continue to click on it, it then makes it a little bit smaller. That's a new feature so that you can still see your mind map, but then you can interact with it in the middle in the chat area, and you can ask it questions. And again, now it's all linked to the different resources. And if you click on those, you can go right to where it found that information in the text. So our next one is, let's go ahead and do the video overview. That's pretty cool. Let me show you what one of those video overviews looks like. It takes a long time for these to generate. Sometimes 15 minutes, I've seen it take an hour. So if you don't have a lot of time, and just for you to note, the other issue is that you have a certain amount of space that you can use every day. And if you generate one of these videos, you usually can't generate another one in the same day. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But just to give you that as a heads up, I particularly like that as if as I said in the past, if you missed a class, you could watch this. But I just wanted to show you what this looks like.
Pyramids, pharaohs, mummies, we all think we know the story of ancient Egypt. But what if I told you the real story is so much bigger and way more surprising than all the stereotypes? In this explainer, we're going to look past the golden masks and dusty tombs.
So you can see it's like watching a presentation. And some of the images are okay. Some of it's just text. Some of them are emojis. But sometimes it gets into, nicer images. I'm just clicking across it to show you what some of the pages look like. Sometimes they'll have a little timeline like this. But it's really nice to be able to watch a little presentation if that's your best way of learning. So it's just another way to process the information. And now for my last and favorite is the podcast. I'm a particular fan of the podcast, and you can see I've generated 3. In the past, you could only generate 1, but now you can generate multiple ones. But if you feel like you're starting to use up a lot of your space, you can always click on the 3 dots and you can download all of this information so that you don't have to be taking up that space and you can store it in another area. So that's another really great feature is all of these things can be downloaded and then you can save them in another space if you feel like you need to open up more space in NotebookLM. But it really does seem to offer you an enormous amount of space, which is so cool. Really excited about that. So let's go ahead and click on this. You'll see that it opens on the bottom here.
Welcome, deep divers, to another journey where we peel back the layers of something familiar to discover its true, maybe surprising depths. Today, we're diving into the iconic world of ancient Egypt. When you think of Egypt, images of towering pyramids, majestic pharaohs, mummies, they just pop into your head immediately.
Instantly recognizable.
Exactly.
I love how their voices are so real and how they and and it makes it sound so real, but they're not. These are AI voices. And I love how they riff on whatever you want. Remember when we looked at the audio overview, you could select what you wanted them to talk about. So if you just click on the audio overview, it won't create one. But if you hit the pencil, you can specify what you want it to do. But the real sweet spot is for those that are interactive learners. If you just want to interact and you want to ask questions and you want to think out loud, you can do that with the podcast. So if we go back in here and I hit interactive, it opens this new window and then I simply play audio and you'll see I'll be able to interact with it and I'll show you.
Welcome, deep divers, to another journey where we peel back the layers of something familiar to discover its true, maybe surprising depths. Hey there.
Hi.
Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, my name is Erica, and I have a question for you guys. I'm a little confused about the direction that the Nile River travels because most rivers travel from north to south, but this one seems to travel against that. Can you explain it to me, please?
Erica, that's a fantastic question. And actually, it's something that trips a lot of people up.
It really does. It's a key detail.
You're absolutely right. Most rivers flow from higher elevations to lower ones, which often means north to south in many parts of the world.
But the Nile is unique in this regard.
Its source is deep in Central Africa, much further.
So this interactive mode really allows you to go deep into your understanding. If you don't understand something, you can ask them to explain it to you. If you just want someone to test you, they can test you. And then they'll even respond to your answer and help you to understand it in a deeper way by saying, you might have missed this out, or here's another way of looking at it. Yeah, I find it to be absolutely extraordinary. So just to do a quick review of some of the new features, the Discover feature, of course, they also have some of their own notebooks for you to access back on the home page. We also now have these nice colored boxes that are nice and organized, and you can go a little bit deeper into the audio overview and how you want to customize it. I love the different icons to help you keep track of which resource you're opening, the fact that you can download everything. Yeah, so I really am very grateful to the new video overview that they're offering, and they continue to offer new features all the time. And I will continue to offer new videos to keep you guys abreast, because I really am a firm believer that when you learn how to use this properly, that this can be a resource, again, that can help you to process and reprocess the information in a way that helps you to learn best. Thanks for watching. For intervention and remedial materials, lessons, and assessments, visit goodsensorylearning.com. And for full training and certification courses, head to learningspecialistcourses.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more executive functioning tips. And we'll see you next time.